it's Hailey, and today is Bookmas Day 18, so I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated releases for 2020. I am so excited to be doing today's video. I'm so excited for all of the releases that are coming out in 2020. I feel like 2019 was a bit of a slow year in terms of new releases. I really should have taken the time to catch up on the 2018 new releases that I didn't get to, but I still couldn't keep up with the 2019 ones, so I'm sure you know how that went. But 2020 seems like it's going to be a year for some new and exciting stories from authors that I already know and from debut authors as well. But it's kind of seeming like a slower year in terms of sequels. I think a lot of the big series have ended in the past couple of years, so maybe we will get some more new and exciting big series coming out, and then we will have the sequels to look forward to for the next couple of years. But I have so many books to talk about today that instead of really giving my thoughts, I'm going to be mostly talking about what the book is about, and obviously since it's on this list, it is something I'm excited for, so I'll just be giving you a brief summary rather than my own thoughts for it. I hope that makes sense. Let's just get into the list. So first is We Used to Be Friends by Amy Spalding. This is coming out January 7th, and it is a dual timeline story from the past and the present that is all about best friends growing up and growing apart. I know I wouldn't really say my thoughts on things, but I am very excited for this one because I think that that is a very difficult thing when you grow apart from your friends, and it's something that should be talked about in young adult fiction more, so I'm hoping that it does the topic justice. Next is The Night Country by Melissa Albert. This is coming out January 7th as well, and it is the sequel to The Hazelwood, which I read in 2017 or 2018, and I enjoyed it a lot, so I'm looking forward to the sequel. The book has been kind of divisive. I know that like a lot of people really liked it, but a lot of people also really didn't like it, but I fell on the side of enjoying it, and I'm not sure what's going to happen in the sequel. I'm gonna have to kind of refresh my memory on what happened in the previous book, but either way, I'm looking forward to it. Next is King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is coming out I just sounded the most Canadian I have ever sounded in my entire life. I like just scared myself. Wow. Next is King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is coming out on February 4th, and I am so excited. This is the finale to the Diviner series. I can't believe it's over. It's been happening for so long that it's like, how are we at the end? But I know I am super, super, super looking forward to it, and I'm going to listen to that audiobook right away. If you're unfamiliar with the Diviner series, it is set in the 1920s. It's a historical fiction sort of ghost story. Lots of mysterious thriller things happening. It's just fantastic. Next is All the Stars and Teeth by Adalyn Grace. This is coming out February 4th as well, and it is a mermaid and pirate sort of fantasy. It follows the princess of an island kingdom, and in this kingdom, you get the opportunity to choose the magic that you have, except if you are the princess. She has to do soul magic. But after a demonstration of her powers goes awry, she is forced to flee. This book is checking a lot of boxes: island, pirates, mermaids, magic of the souls is intriguing, so I'm looking forward to it. Next is Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon, which is coming out February 18th. This is a contemporary spin on Beauty and the Beast set at an elite boarding school, so that's awesome, and it's also by the author of When Dimple Met Rishi, which I really enjoyed when I read a couple of years ago. So it has a princess, it has a centuries-long family feud, and everything about that sounds great. Next is The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller, which is coming out February 25th, and Tricia Levenseller is an author that I have read all of her books so far. So she has the Daughter of the Pirate King duology and Warrior of the Wild, and they're really quick, easy fantasy reads, very enjoyable and entertaining, so I'm definitely excited about this next one. The job of the main character in this story is to woo the Shadow King, marry him, and then kill him to take the kingdom for herself. So like, wow, that is the setup for a lot. Next is The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu, which is coming out March 3rd. This follows Mozart's sister, which is super cool, but she wants to be remembered for her music, but she knows that she doesn't have as much of a chance because she is a girl, and she is watching her brother soar and just continue to improve and be recognized for his abilities. Now, all she wants is to be a composer, but she can't because she's a woman living in the 18th century, but then this stranger arrives and offers to help her do what she wants to do, but of course there's a price to pay for that. Next is All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban, which is coming out March 17th. This kind of is giving me One of Us is Lying vibes. Like, it might be what I wanted One of Us is Lying to be, so I hope I enjoy it. But there's this scholarship dinner that all of these people are invited to. There's a queen bee. It's kind of like the Breakfast Club setup once again, like queen bee, athlete, all of that. But they end up going to this dinner and find out that it's a trap. So they arrive and there's a bomb and a syringe filled with poison, and they have to choose who is going to die or else all of them are going to die. So like drama. Next is The Honey Don't List by Christina Lauren, which is coming out March 24th. Christina Lauren is an author duo that I absolutely fell in love with this past year, so I definitely will be reading anything that they come out with, including this book. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the cover, that's not what counts. This follows two characters who are pretty unhappy with their jobs, but neither of them are in a position to quit, and they end up meeting up and teaming up to hide their boss's secrets and keep their jobs secure. I know that it deals with a, like, what is it, like an HGTV couple sort of thing, like home renovation couple. So it's this couple that does home renovations for TV, and that is the boss of the female character, I believe. So that's definitely an interesting twist, but I'm just excited for some new Christina Lauren, to be honest. I didn't even need to know what it was about. I knew I was going to read it anyways. Next is The Time of Our Lives by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegemund-Broka, which is coming out April 21st. I have read this author duo's previous two books, and both of them have had to do with Shakespeare, but it looks like this next one doesn't, which is interesting. But I am very intrigued by it because it deals with life after high school, and that was always something that I was looking for. Books that weren't about like quite adults yet, that kind of young adult genre, but you know, young adult is more so teen, you know what I'm trying to say. Basically the like college age. You don't get a lot of that. So this is a love story with two characters who cross paths on a college tour. We have Fitz, who has vowed to stay close to home to help his mother, who is suffering from early onset Alzheimer's, and then we have Juniper, who wants nothing more than to be as far away from home and her smothering family as possible. We have a cat visitor. Hello. Hello, Luna. How are you? How you doing? What new release are you most excited for next year? Me too. I know you love this. You love every part of it. Thank you for visiting. Next is 4 Days of You and Me by Miranda Kenneally, which is coming out May 5th. And the concept for this is very interesting to me. So it is set on the same day for 4 years. I don't know if I explained that well, but essentially you get this love story told over 4 days, but 4 years apart. Oh my god, a year apart, but like 4 days. You get what I mean. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be interesting. I'm not selling it very well, but like, I know I am intrigued. Next is The Betrothed by Kiera Cass. This is coming out May 5th as well. Kiera Cass is the author of the Selection series, which is one of my guilty pleasure reads. I haven't read it since I started BookTube, so I don't know if I would reread it now and absolutely hate it, but I know when I first read it, I loved it. Like, I flew through it, such quick reads and just very enjoyable. And this is a little bit different for her, so it's still obviously a romance, and it is obviously dealing with royals because that's what she does best, but it's a historical fiction, and the king declares his love for the Lady Hollis. So she has grown up vying for his attention and hoping that this would happen, but now that it has, she realizes that her love might lie elsewhere. Oh, it sounds like a historical fiction romance, and like, I'm down for that. I mean, that is what it is, but I mean like an adult one. I'm just gonna stop talking. Next is By the Book, a novel of pros and cons by Amanda Sellet, which is coming out May 12th. This is all about Mary, who loves classic novels, and from that she ends up creating this survival guide to scoundrels, which is so great. So it is just a rundown of the literary types to be avoided at all costs, and like, I love that. I feel like it is the setup for a really funny book. I think it's going to be very enjoyable, kind of giving me My Lady Jane vibes, which I'm definitely down for. Next is Girl, Serpent, Thorn by Melissa Bashardoust. This is coming out May 12th as well, and it is by the author of Girls Made of Snow and Glass, I think is what it was called. It was a Snow White retelling, and I read it and enjoyed it. So now that they are writing another book, I'm excited for it. But this book is an original fairy tale, kind of giving me King Midas vibes. So it's about a girl who is poisonous to the touch. Over the course of the book, she starts discovering the power that is in that curse, and she has been hidden away her entire life. So it's really her learning about her abilities. Next is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, which is coming out May 19th. And I like, part of me is excited, part of me is very nervous, because I always get nervous when they're reviving something that I loved before. Like, I don't get that excited for reboots because I'm like, I think that things should just like stay in the past. I get like Cursed Child, you know, I think of that and I'm like, no, that should have just stayed in the past or never even happened. So that's kind of my worry, but this is set 64 years before the events of the first Hunger Games novel, so we shall see. I will keep an open mind. Next is The Paper Girl of Paris by Jordan Taylor, which is coming out May 26th. This follows the main character who is in an apartment that her grandmother, who has recently died, had left in Paris, just abandoned, and no one really knew about it. So it's about that character uncovering the history of her grandmother's past during World War II, kind of a dual timeline thing, and I think it sounds great. Next is I Kissed Alice by Anna Birch, which is also coming out on May 26th. This follows two characters who are at a graphic design school, or just an art school in general, and they are both trying to be the best artists, so they are enemies in real life, but online they are unwittingly working together on this graphic novel in a fan fiction universe. So it is a female-female romance, and I think the setup for it sounds fantastic. Next is My Calamity Jane by the Lady Janies, aka Brody Ashton, Cynthia Hand, and Jody Meadows. I am so excited for this. So this is the next book of the My Lady Jane series, which just follows different Janes, and they're just funny, humorous stories, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited. This is coming out June 2nd, and I'll be honest, this is the one with the topic that appeals to me the least. I'm just not really interested in like the Wild West sort of thing, but I still will read it, and I'm sure I'll really like it because they make everything so fun and enjoyable to read. So learning about Calamity Jane and also their interpretation of Annie Oakley, I think is going to be great. Next is The Court of Miracles by Kester Grant, which is also coming out on June 2nd. This is a retelling of Les Mis and the Jungle Book, so that definitely hooked me in. But it's following a failed French Revolution and the jungle of Paris. Like, I'm kind of confused about how the two are going to combine, but I know that I am intrigued by it, and I need to turn my volume down on my computer because I'm gonna keep on getting emails because it's Cyber Monday and everyone's like, sale, 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 and I'm like, please stop, leave me alone. But anyways, it's about a cat burglar who goes head to head with the king of this criminal underworld to try and save their adopted sister, Cosette. I have lots of questions, but like, I'm definitely interested. Next is Sisters of Sword and Song by Rebecca Ross, which is coming out June 23rd. I read Rebecca Ross's debut novel, which was The Queen's Rising, and I liked the concept of it, but I wasn't a huge fan of the execution. But I do think that this story might appeal to me a little bit more. I'm definitely willing to give her another chance. So this is about sisters reuniting, and you know, I love me a good story about sisters, but the one sister returns sooner than she was expected to because she's actually on the run after being charged with murder. And after the trial, her sister ends up volunteering to serve part of her sentence, just wanting to learn the truth about what happened. Next is Splinters of Scarlet by Emily Bain Murphy, which is coming out July 21st. This is set in 19th century Copenhagen. I love the setting. I love the idea of a historical fiction set at this time, but it follows an orphan seamstress who goes to work for a retired ballerina because her father died while working with that ballerina's family, so she's using magic to try and figure out the truth of what happened to her father. Next is Set Fire to the Gods by Sarah Rosh and Kristen Simmons. This is coming out on August 4th. This is a gladiator story, and I have read the Snow Like Ashes trilogy by Sarah Rosh, really enjoyed it. I haven't read anything by Kristen Simmons, but I've heard some really good things, and it deals with some sort of elemental magic, so gladiators and elemental magic sounds like a great combination. Next is Star Daughter by Shavita Thakrar, and this is coming out August 11th. This follows the daughter of a star and a mortal, like that's like demigods, but like to the extreme. I love that. But after a star flare ends up injuring the main character's mortal father, she ends up going to the stars to try and heal him and entering into this competition in hopes of being able to heal him and make sure that he survives. And finally is The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, which is coming out October 6th. Obviously, I've read many things by this author duo, and I really, really love them. They are basically like my auto-buy sci-fi authors, so I'm definitely interested in what they're coming out with next. This is pitched as a genre-bending story, so kind of a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of historical fiction, which is very intriguing. But it follows the prince of this high-tech city in the sky who ends up falling from the sky to this goddess's ancient land. There's a little bit of magic thrown in there, a historical element, all of it just sounds so cool. So those are all of the 2020 new releases that I'm super excited for, or at least the ones that are already announced, because throughout the year there will be more to add to my list because they announce them a little bit later. So that's why the majority of them kind of stop at around July. There's not much announced after that. But please do let me know what new releases you are the most excited for. I know that it looks like it's going to be a great year of good new reads, and I hope that it will be. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's Bookmas video. If you did, don't forget to click that subscribe button, then click that bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I post. I'm posting 21 videos over the course of December. You can catch up on all of them down below as well. I have the playlist linked for you guys. You can also follow me on all of my social media. All of my handles and links and all of that fun stuff are down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!